I love when stores have these little carts. How about you? I think Lidl might be my new favorite store. We got so much good stuff. Hey, my name is Lisa, and if you are new to our channel, welcome. My husband Charlie and I are homesteaders who live in South Carolina, and we follow a Mediterranean way of eating. We raise a lot of our own meat. We raise chickens and we raise ducks, we raise turkeys, we harvest deer, and we are raising goats and cows. So we've got a lot of animals, and we also grow a big garden. So we really do try to provide a lot of the food ourselves, but I do go to the grocery store to get the things that are either off season or things that we don't raise on our homestead. So I am going to be sharing with you today what I get at Lidl to follow a Mediterranean way of eating. If you've been around my channel before, you know that I've done several shopping videos. We've done Aldi, we've done Costco, we've done Walmart. And so somebody asked me to do Lidl, and so I'm really glad that they did because I found some great stuff. So let's get into the video. As always, I start with the cold stuff so I can get it back into the refrigerator or freezer. So the first thing that I found was this brown rice. This is a really great thing to have on hand. If you follow me on YouTube or on Instagram or TikTok or anything like that, whenever I am talking about preparing my meals, I'm always talking about how it's really great to have grains prepped ahead of time. And so I make a lot of grains in my Instant Pot, like quinoa or rice or farro. As I've mentioned in other videos, it is a great thing to have grains prepped ahead of time. I make them in the Instant Pot and then I put them in individual servings in my freezer, and they are perfect. But this is really good to have on hand if you don't have something prepped, and the only ingredient is brown rice. So this is fantastic. Next, I'm going to show you the cheeses that I found. I was absolutely thrilled to find these cheeses. When you're on a Mediterranean way of eating, you definitely want to gravitate more toward the goat and sheep cheeses. So this was great because they're really, really affordable at Lidl. So I got the feta. And if you've had feta before, you know that the feta that's packed in brine is always better. And the thing that I love about shopping places like Lidl and like Aldi is they have a lot of very authentic products. So like this feta, I think it is from Greece. Yes, it says right on it, imported from Greece. So I love that. So I know that this is going to be sheep feta, and it is. Next, we've got halloumi cheese. So if you've never tried halloumi, you definitely want to give it a try. It's a really cool cheese that you can actually put on a grill or you can pan fry it, and it's got a really nice salty, briny flavor. So it's really good on a mezzi platter or a cheese board. Really, really great. And so this is just plain halloumi. And then this is one of my favorite things, and actually one of my sons loves it too, these little tapas. And these are almost always a combination of goat and sheep cheeses as well, so this was a really good find too. I was really happy to see that Lidl had some great whole grain pasta. So they've got the penne, organic penne, and then the organic rotini. And these are really, really great. I've actually successfully switched my family over to whole wheat pasta. They grumbled when I first started making it. Now they don't even notice. So if you are trying to transition into the Mediterranean way of eating and your family is, not super excited about the whole grain pasta, just keep trying. I would recommend trying heavier sauces like a tomato sauce rather than a light sauce like a linguine and clam sauce would probably be too light to start with. So start with those heavy sauces, and before long, they won't even notice. So we got the pasta. Then I went and I saw that they have a couple different kinds of tomato sauces. They had a marinara, a tomato basil, and a garlic. So I grabbed the tomato basil. I would say that the ingredients are pretty similar to that which is in Raos. Of course, it's always better to make your own homemade sauce, but this is just fine because all of the ingredients in here are whole ingredients and it's super, super low in sugar. I also found a salsa. So this is just the mild salsa. They also had the medium salsa, but I like to do the mild. So I love having salsa with breakfast. I put it with my eggs all the time. I love making breakfast bowls, and having this salsa is perfect for a topper. But again, this is one of those things that it's all whole food ingredients, so it's really great to use as a condiment on the Mediterranean way of eating. They had maple syrup, so I usually get this at Costco, but I know not everyone has a Costco near them, so I really wanted to show another place that they had it. It looks really, really similar to the one that I buy at Costco, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's the exact same product, just marketed a little bit differently, because I know that Lidl and Aldi both do that. I use maple syrup when I bake. I use it. I made some roasted nuts the other day. You can use it just pretty much anywhere that you would use cane sugar. You can use maple syrup. I even tend to use a little bit less maple syrup than I would sugar. And this is the star ingredient in that really delicious honey maple Dijon dressing that I make. This is another thing that I use all the time, everything but the bagel seasoning. So it was like $2. It was such a good deal for like this much of it. And again, I usually get this at Costco, but I couldn't pass it up because it was on sale for like $2. But this is fantastic. I put this literally on everything. Everything, pun intended. This is another thing that I was really excited to find. I found a sesame crisp bread and an original crisp bread, and the only ingredients in this one is just rye and salt, and this one is just rye, sesame seeds, and salt. So both of these are great. I personally have had a really hard time finding any of these that I could eat, because a lot of times there's sunflower seeds in these, and I'm allergic to sunflower. So these were fantastic finds. I do make a lot of homemade crackers. You might have seen my homemade sourdough whole wheat cracker recipe. It's fantastic, but I love having stuff like this on hand, that if I ever want a cracker and I don't feel like making crackers, or we have surprise company or whatever it may be, these are great to have on hand. And so I was really happy to find them. This is another thing that I was absolutely thrilled to find. I've never seen these in a store before. Organic dried chickpeas, and maybe I'm just not looking in the right place, but I recently heard of a bread. It's called soca, and it was in one of my Mediterranean cookbooks, and it reminds me of almost like a naan bread, but you make it with chickpeas, and you make it with specifically chickpea flour. And I know that buying those flours can be really, really expensive, so I was thrilled to find this because these were like $4 a bag, and I can easily grind this myself in my Vitamix, and then I am going to be able to make that soca flatbread. So I will definitely do a video on that because I'm really excited to try it. Next, I just got some cans of organic garbanzo beans. I got 4 of these. I use them all the time. I put them in salads. I put them in soups. They're just really, really great to have on hand and so versatile. You can make hummus with it super easily. All you need is pretty much garbanzo beans and tahini and some salt and some lemon, and you've got hummus, garlic, but very, very good ingredient to have on hand. And then I buy Dijon mustard everywhere I go because I love Dijon mustard. I use it all the time to make that dressing I talked about earlier in the video. And I also love it because it's a great topping for salmon. I love just mixing a little bit of this with some garlic and some olive oil, and it's just a fantastic topping for fish. And then Kalamata olives. This is another thing that I get pretty much wherever I go. And last but not least, the produce that I got. I didn't get too much produce because I'm pretty well stocked on it because we went to Costco recently, but I did get a couple avocados. If you didn't know, if you put avocados in the refrigerator, they last way longer. So what you want to do is you want to wait until the avocado is ripe, and then you immediately put it in the refrigerator, and it'll last at least another week. And then you can use it whenever you want. But that trick has saved me a lot of frustration with avocados. And you can freeze them too. I don't do that. I just keep mine in my fridge and I use them pretty quickly. I also got this big bag of kale. I am going to make zuppa toscana soup today, and it is actually, there's a recipe for it on my blog. I'll link it in the comments. And then I got some pomegranates. I really love pomegranates. When it is pomegranate season, I am always adding it on top of my oatmeal. I love putting it on cottage cheese. I love putting it on salads. It's really good in soups. Like, you might think pomegranate wouldn't be good in soup, but like if you have like a butternut squash soup or a pumpkin soup, pomegranate is really good on top of that. It's really good in drinks too, makes them really festive. So pomegranate's great. And then my garden is not growing basil right now, so I just got a basil plant. I'm just gonna keep it in the windowsill. Almost less expensive to just buy the whole plant and just take off of this rather than buying those little packets of basil that they have. This is a less expensive way to go, and it's gonna give you more basil. And as long as you take care of it, water it, keep it by the windowsill, it'll be the gift that keeps on giving. So I hope that video was helpful. If you have never shopped at Lidl, I hope you'll give it a try. The prices were fantastic. And if you do shop there regularly, I would love to hear what you buy there. So drop it in the comments. Also, if there is a store that I have not done yet that you would like me to do for the Mediterranean way of eating, drop that in the comments too. And if there is a way for me to get this to the store, if it's close to me, I will do that. If you like this video and you want to learn more about homesteading or the Mediterranean way of eating, definitely check out some of our other videos. Check out one of the ones that pop up on the screen, or you can check out our playlists.